Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'll be reviewing the Rolex Submariner Reference 1680 Vintage, produced from approximately 1969 to 1979, roughly 10-year span or so. I will tell you a little bit about the history of this 1680. Then I'll tell you about the case, then I'll tell you about where it stands in the lineup of other similar 1680s. Then I'll tell you about the case bezel dial bracelet movement. Finally, try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start just with a little history of before the 1680. So the 1680 was produced for approximately 10 years, starting from 1969. Before that, for the previous 20 years, so let's call it early 60s until, so 1959, 1960, something like that, to 1980, that's 20 years. So 1960, they produced a reference 5512 and a 5513. The only difference was one was chronometer certified, which means it was more accurate than the other, but more or less they look the same. But at any rate, they produced that watch, the original Submariner. There's stuff even more earlier than that, but for all intents and purposes, let's start there. And it was basically a Submariner, but it didn't have a date back then, from 1960 to 1980. Let's leave easy numbers for us to remember. Okay, so for 20 years span, they produced that model number. And then let's just call it 1980, close enough, and until 1990 is close enough, the 1680 was produced. And the difference is that the 1680 has a date, and the previous model didn't. And after this one in 1990, they went on to produce the reference 16610. So yeah, okay. That's just a little bit about where this watch stands in the lineup. Now, let's talk about the 1680 within the 1680 family, 1680. Now, for the first 5-6 years or something like that, from like 1979 to, let's say, 1969 to roughly 5 years or so in the mid 70s, they produced the 1680 with red on the words Submariner. So they call it, it's a red Submariner. The words Submariner were written in red. They did that for the first 5 years. Those ones are a little bit more valuable because there's less of them, they're older, and red is a pretty cool thing. After that, starting in like around 1975 or so until 1979, 1980, the 1680s were white. That means the words Submariner are in white, not in red. And so they're not as expensive, but yeah, I'm not sure you're going to pay so much money just for a little red print. Okay, but anyways, that's just to give you a little idea. Now, there's a lot of different variations. I'm not going to go through all those because, I don't believe that most buyers are totally nerding out over all the little minutia. So I'm not going to get into all that detail. But just let's suffice it to say there's 6 different dial configurations of the 1680 MK1 through 6. They are very, very similar. Some have feet first, which are the later ones, and meters first, which are the first ones, and red on the Submariner versus not red, and some other minor details on the font and stuff. But it really doesn't matter too much, to be honest with you. It matters in terms of pricing because it's such a famous watch. But if you plan on wearing this thing, which you should, then it's not going to matter too much. If you have a 1680, you have a 1680. Okay, so with that said, let's start talking about the case. Starting with the case. Now, it's a 40 millimeter case, which is a good size. They really haven't changed the size at all. And if you look, it really just looks like a modern Submariner. It has these angular lugs, satin finish top with a little beveled edge here, and a high polish side with holes on the case to allow the spring bar, which is pretty nice. And interestingly, if you look at the side profile, it looks quite different, looks quite vintage. The side profile of the case, you can see that the bezel has sort of a different angle to it than the new modern bezels. And you'll notice that the crystal, which in this case is actually plastic, sticks up a little bit higher, making it look a little thicker, but it just gives it that vintage look. Nowadays, with the sapphire crystal, it's all super flush, which, it looks nice too, but, this is a vintage look. And it gives that sort of tall visual of it and just really makes the watch look very vintage, which it is. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, now let's look also here at the bezel. The bezel here, if you notice, it's a aluminum bezel, but or it might be acrylic. I'm not sure actually, but the bezel itself, the insert, you can notice it differs from newer models in that it's very thin. It's a thin bezel, as opposed to, for example, its predecessor or successor, the 16610 model, which has a thicker bezel. Thicker meaning it's wider. This is much thinner. And it also just makes it look much more vintage with this look on it. So I like the way that this plastic crystal and this thin bezel look. It just really gives the watch more of a vintage look to it. It doesn't really look like the newer Submariners from the 1990s, 16610. It still looks vintage from there. So yeah, it's a nice look for this bezel. And if you look at the bezel holder, it's also quite thick if you compare it to the current model. Okay, let's look at the dial here. The dial is really where I think this watch stands out, in that this is the dial that they did back then. If you notice, one major thing is that the hour markers do not have a white gold surrounding the luminescent. They're just dots laid down on the dial. And presumably they did it, I think they did those hour markers in radioactive luminescent tritium before, which is why they put at the bottom of the dial the Swiss T less than 25. I think it's something like Swiss tritium less than X amount, less than 25 milliparts or whatever over this time. So I think that looks pretty darn cool, the way that they do the hour markers like this. And as you see the big triangle at the 12 o'clock and the Rolex sign, it all looks like it normally does, but it just looks a little vintage. So I like the way that looks. And the hands really haven't changed. They're still Mercedes hands. Pretty cool. Just a great looking dial. And if you notice also that if you look at the date wheel, if you look at the 6 and the 9, so either at 16, 26, 6, and 9, you'll notice that the 6 and the 9 are actually not closed. That's a kind of an interesting thing, that's how they did it back then. And also, if you look at the 40 on the bezel, you notice it's not a sharp 4. It has this sort of flat 4 look. That's how they did it back then. Just kind of, everything makes this watch look a little bit more vintage. That's just how it looked back then, which I really like and admire. And I think vintage people who want to have vintage watch like that. And I know it's small differences, but it is really cool. And you look at the crown too. The crown looks different as well. It looks flatter. It looks like a Bart Simpson head, right? So I think that's pretty cool too. Just overall, and it's all, of course, original Rolex, not so. Okay, now let's look at the bracelet. Now this is going to be a 93150 bracelet. It's actually the modern bracelet now that they've been using. Can you imagine they've been using this watch, or this bracelet, since mid 70s, 1975 or 77 or something like that. All the way they stopped using it on at the reference 116610, which I believe came out in mid 2000s, 2005 or something like that. So that makes it like a 30-year run. Can you believe they used the same bracelet for 30 years? Crazy, right? The only difference is this one had 2-piece end links. They changed it to 1-piece end links later, but it's still a 93150 bracelet. But the older models on the 1680, they used riveted bracelets, like in the late 60s. Bracelet's not a big deal though. You can get that changed out. The important thing is the head, but still this one happens to have the more modern looking bracelet. I actually think it's better because the important thing of the bracelet is that it's stable and it actually stays on your wrist, because without a stable bracelet, this thing moves around like a slinky on your wrist, and it doesn't feel good either. Okay, but anyways, this one has it, and a lot of times people actually change it out for a NATO strap and such. So okay, anyways, that's the bracelet. Let's look at the movement here. The movement is covered. You can't see it anyways, but it's going to be a 1575 movement. And so they used this one movement for quite some time until they got to reference 16610, which was in the I guess it would be the 80s, and at that time they changed. Actually, they changed. Yeah, so they used this movement for quite some time, and it's a good movement. Piece to watch working. What can I say? All right, time to try this watch on my wrist and give my thoughts. Now, this watch happens to be from the late 70s, and that makes it 45 plus years old, 46 years old, something like that. So that's quite old. And if you think about it, it looks more or less just like a Submariner. But if you ask me, I would actually say that it's better to have this vintage one than a modern one, exactly because, first of all, it's more unique, but it still looks just as cool as a modern Submariner, but it just gives some flair to it. And it's an interesting piece. It's something different. You don't see it very often, and there's limited numbers of it. And so I'm really, I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan of vintage, that I love all these things, I'm an expert and all this. No, I'm not. I'm not. But, and I don't think probably you are either, that's why you're watching this video. But I would say most people watching this video, they want to have a vintage watch, but they don't want, they don't want to get bogged down in worrying about all the little minutia about this vintage stuff. They want one that's all original, that is, but it could have service parts from Rolex. That's okay, because if Rolex certifies that it's okay by them, then I'm pretty sure it should be okay by you, since Rolex is the manufacturer. So as long as it's all original parts, whether it's serviced or not, it doesn't really matter. And it's in good shape. Those are the main things that you should be looking for. And definitely, if you want those things, you can get them at jazztime.com at the lowest price anywhere online by clicking on the link in the description below.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.